Super crappy reviews. Hey guys! I wasn't thinking about making a review about this game because my idea of the super crappy reviews was about making videos about games that aren't very popular but that I really like. But my Spanish speaking audience told me that the reviews for this game aren't very good, so I might as well make one. So let's talk about King of Fighters 15. King of Fighters 15 is the 15th entry of the mainline KoF series, and the second game that's done in 3D. That's right, because Maximum Impact doesn't count. That's filler. Or another story. I don't know. But we can see that they built over what they had done in King of Fighters 14. A lot of the models look similar, and they were modified slightly to look better. They also recycled a lot of animations, but that's a good thing. Because something I really liked about King of Fighters 14 was that they keyframed everything by hand, instead of having the physics engine do whatever. But sadly, King of Fighters 15 does that with a few characters, and I'm not really a fan of it. But oh well. At least it's better than Kim's stiff pants in King of Fighters 14. So I'm gonna assume that's the reason to why he's not in the game, and maybe they'll add him once they figure it out. And something I really want to applaud the game for doing is that characters don't mirror when they switch sides. Just look at Whip. She even has an animation where her whip switches hands. It's a really small detail, but it's something that has always bothered me in fighting games. They used to do this before, just to not have to draw sprites on both sides and to save resources. But they don't even use sprites anymore. Now they're 3D models. But some people still do it, like Arxis with Guilty Gear and Grand Blue Fantasy. So thank you, King of Fighters. Now I don't have to deal with that anymore. Oh, no, never mind. They still mirror some characters. Well, at least they tried. Fans of this series will probably get upset at me, because I'm not gonna talk too in depth about the story, since this is the original Smash Bros. What do I mean by that? That this is a game where they threw in a bunch of SNK characters. Not that one. Oh wait. Anyways, a bunch of people join a tournament and the guy running it is some weird millionaire who wants the best techniques, and then there's also a pop group who wants to summon Satan, and then there's some evil organization who wants to clone the main character to make an army of Kyos for people who only play Kyo because they're stupid. Kyo me da asco. Es para gente.
Ya sé, güey. Nunca acabó la escuela. ¿Te da asco su.? Nunca acabó la
Es para
escuela.
la gente estúpida.
¿A quién le estás diciendo así, Sebas?
Es que mira eso.
No quiero
mira
amarrar
eso,
navajas, pero a alguien le estás diciendo así, ¿eh? A alguien muy cercano
Mira,
a ti
me
le
lo puedo
estás
pasar
diciendo
haciendo
así.
esto. Mira, soy Kyo. Tengo todo el tiempo.
¡Ay, mira! Estás jugando bien, Sebas! ¡No mames!
Retrasada.
¡No, pero estás jugando! ¡Ya ganó, Sebas! ¡No mames!
And some idiot started stealing people's powers to open a portal to another dimension to delete himself, because the developers realized that nobody liked him. Etc, etc. So let's see how the game works. To begin, let's talk about movement. Because King of Fighters has always been a very agile series. We have movement similar to any fighting game. But here, you can run, backdash, short hop, regular hop, fast short hop, and a bunch of other types of hops. And these are really important, because in a match everybody's gonna be jumping and running like crazy people to get a better position. Because if you stay still in this game, you're gonna die. King of Fighters is a series that I really appreciate for having a very comfortable button layout. It has 4, A, B, C, and D, which translate to punch, kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. They don't cancel into each other, but each character has a unique attack, which can be cancelled after a normal attack to create a combo. You can also cancel your normal attacks into a special attack. You can do a lot more with these buttons. If you press A and B, you can roll. This makes you immune to all attacks, except grabs. You can also choose where to roll with the directions. You can roll left or right. You can also roll while blocking to escape, but this costs 1 bar. Another combination is C plus D, which is the blowback attack, and throw your opponent to the wall. It can also be done in the air, but it won't cause the same impact. And it can also be done while blocking, to get your opponent off of you. Now let's talk about special moves. They are movements that can be done with specific inputs. SNK is notorious for having very unique and weird inputs. But throughout the years of King of Fighters, they have become somewhat more standardized. I think the weirdest movement that you're gonna see in this game is from Dolores and the King of Dinosaurs, which is like a reverse Shoryuken, but it ends on the left instead of the corner. And if you're coming from Street Fighter or have terrible execution like I do, you're gonna have a hard time with this move. Because there's no input leniency like in Street Fighter. There are no shortcuts. You have to do the moves just as they're written. But if I can do them, so can you. Just need to practice. But coming back to the topic of special moves, they can be done by themselves or after a regular hit. You can also spend half of a super bar to do an EX move. This is a stronger version of your special attack, and some of them contain stuff like ground bounces, which allows you to extend combos. You can also spend your super bar to perform super moves, also known as fifths in Mexico, since the super bar has 5 levels, and if you have 3 bars, you can perform a climax, which is also known as a secret move in Mexico, since it's pretty much your character's secret weapon. You can also spend 2 bars for max mode, which is a mode where your character can stop their normal attack to return to a neutral state where they can keep attacking. But the most important thing about this mode is that it reduces the cost of your EX moves, and allows you to chain super moves together, just as long as you have the resources. You can also activate it by itself without attacking, and it'll cause more damage to your opponent's guard, but I think it's way more useful if you perform it within a combo. And to finish this segment, we have the new mechanic for this game, called Shatter Strike, which can be done with a Hadouken motion and C plus D. This will cause your character to glow purple and throw an attack, which can absorb a hit, and if you land it, your opponent will be in a comboable state. And that's all for the game mechanics section. Now let's see what else this game has to offer. First, we have the story mode, which works pretty much like an arcade mode. You go through a series of fights until reaching the final boss. And we do have some scenes about what's going on in the tournament, but you don't really feel like you're part of the story, since you're probably not playing with the characters that are involved in it. Unless you're playing with Shunei, the main character who nobody likes. Ooh, Shunei. And that's why I say that it's more like an arcade mode. And it's okay. After finishing the story mode, you get a cutscene about story stuff or just funny moments. It all depends on what team you picked. There are also secret team combinations that unlock music from previous games and other SNK properties. And I really love this because this game has a DJ station where you can customize what music you hear on any stage and on any menu. I think I only have one complaint about the arcade mode, the story mode, and I'd say that's the AI. This is probably a really weird complaint, but SNK games are infamous for having really tough bosses that can take hours and hours to beat. Even on the toughest difficulty, the boss has really exploitable patterns. There's also the boss challenge mode, where you can fight Rugal, which is King of Fighters' most famous boss. But I feel like they didn't modernize him. I feel like he can't deal with the stuff characters can do nowadays. And also the fact that his health doesn't regenerate after beating one of your characters makes him somewhat easier. But he's there in case you want another challenge. Aside from the story mode, we have various tutorials, There are short tutorials that teach you how to play, and there are also character combo trials, which aren't optimal and some are really annoying. What kind of sick person puts a Shokoken right after an uppercut? But I guess this gives you an idea to how to make combos in the regular training mode. And we obviously have the local versus mode, like every fighting game, where you can play with your friends. Or with the computer, because you keep beating your friends and they don't want to play with you anymore. You can also choose to just play with one character or with 3 characters, like traditionally in King of Fighters. And before we go into the online modes, I want to talk about the player profile. Because if you want to go into ranked mode to rank up, you're gonna have to register a team. So register a team here because you can't really select your characters in ranked mode. And if you don't have a registered team, the game will just pick the default one. And I know that none of you want to play with Shunei, because you are all decent people. I think, I hope. What does my audience even look at? Oh. Well, now that we're here, let's talk about how this game can be played online, unlike King of Fighters 14. So let's go to the online modes. We already mentioned ranked mode, where you can rank up so you can show off how good you are. But before you can go there, you have to play 3 fights against the computer, who will judge you and place you in an adequate level. But not really, because they can become really ridiculous. I ended up losing and got placed with a bunch of beginners, and I kind of ruined their experience and they probably uninstalled the game, so I'm sorry. So if you don't want to deal with that, you can just create your own room and play with your friends. Just like local versus, you can choose to fight with 1 character or with 3 characters. And if you have more friends, you can try out party mode, where 3 people can fight 3 people. This mode is extremely fun, especially if you try out the shuffle mode where everybody gets team swapped at the start of the match. And the only negative thing I have to say about this are the lobbies. You'd think that entering a lobby would place you immediately in the waiting list, but no, you gotta go to this row and click it, and then it'll put you in a queue, and then you can finally play. And I can't believe that only Capcom and French Bread know how to make regular lobbies. But anyways, this review has lasted too long, so let's end it. I really recommend this game. It's one of the most fun things I've played in the genre. The combat flow and movement can be weird for people who come from other fighting games, but after a while you'll get used to it and you'll move like a gazelle. Or something like that. It's a really complete package. There's a lot you can unlock, like movies, music, titles that nobody cares about, but you can do the trials to feel like those YouTubers and play with your friends online with the power of rollback. The only bad thing are the menus, which are pretty messy, the lack of graphical options, like the lack of VSync that made me make a tutorial, and there's also the concert stage, which used to crash recently, and it's a mess in general. I can't really see the characters in this thing. It's just bad. I don't like it. And that's everything. Thank you for listening to another super crappy review. And this one wasn't really planned, but because I'm having trouble with my other video, I decided to do it. And also because people told me the situation was pretty bad with the Mexican reviews. Like, there are people saying stupid things like, this game is just like Tekken. Or that there's nothing to do in the game, like it's empty. Because reviewers nowadays just go through the story mode and drop the game and never play it again. I know there's people out there who just play fighting games for the single player content. But they usually do everything. They will unlock all of the content, they will go through the story mode with all of the characters, with all of the teams, they will do all of the trials. Like, there is stuff you can do in the game, even if you don't plan to play with other people. But in competitive games, all of the content is really in the multiplayer. Like in League of Legends, or Fortnite, or all of those other games that are more popular. But that's everything for today. Thank you for watching or listening, and remember to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you like the channel. Also, if you want to support me, you can buy me a coffee. In coffee. That's everything. Goodbye.